Let's get right into it. Number 6. The volcano that pressed reset. About 74,000 years ago, Earth decided humans were getting a little too comfortable with this whole existing thing, so it unleashed one of the biggest volcanic eruptions in the last 2 million years, the super eruption at Lake Toba in Indonesia. We're not talking about a cute lava fountain you can film for Instagram. This thing blasted so much ash into the atmosphere that it likely triggered a volcanic winter. Imagine the sky turning into a permanent gray ceiling. Sunlight dims, temperatures drop, plants die, animals die. Everything becomes the world's worst survival game, except there's no pause button and no tutorial. Some scientists think the global human population may have crashed to as few as a few thousand breeding individuals. That's not civilization collapse. That's humanity reduced to a group chat. If a couple bad winters had stacked on top of that, you wouldn't be watching this video, you'd be a slightly confused squirrel. The ash layer from Toba spread across huge parts of Asia, like Earth accidentally dumped a continent-sized bag of cement mix. Crops? Gone. Ecosystems? Wrecked. Early humans suddenly had to survive in a world that looked less like a savanna and more like a post-apocalyptic snow globe. And the wild part? We made it through not because we were strong, but because we were adaptable. Humans are basically the cockroaches of mammals, soft, anxious, and somehow impossible to eliminate. So next time you complain about bad weather, remember, your ancestors survived a planet-wide sun outage using nothing but pointy sticks and sheer stubbornness. Basically, humanity survived because quitting wasn't an option and extinction hadn't invented customer service yet. Number 5. When Yellowstone almost sneezed. Deep under Yellowstone National Park lies a magma chamber so enormous it makes normal volcanoes look like party poppers. If it ever erupts at full power, it wouldn't just ruin a vacation, it would ruin agriculture, climate, and possibly civilization. Supervolcano eruptions don't explode upward like movie volcanoes. They collapse inward, then blast sideways, vaporizing everything nearby and launching ash high enough to block sunlight across continents. Think less mountain goes boom, more planet enters survival mode. Yellowstone has erupted catastrophically 3 times in the past 2 million years. Each time, it coated vast regions in ash thick enough to bury landscapes. If a similar eruption happened today, crops across North America could fail, global temperatures could drop, and supply chains would collapse faster than your motivation on Monday morning. And here's the comforting part. We wouldn't get much warning. No dramatic countdown timer. No heroic scientist yelling, "We have 48 hours," just earthquakes, ground swelling, and then congratulations, you now live on a planet with a dimmer switch turned way down. Human extinction wouldn't be instant. It would be slow, miserable, and full of canned food arguments, famine, cold, ecosystem collapse, basically the worst group project in history. Scientists monitor Yellowstone constantly, which is reassuring in the same way a smoke detector is reassuring when you live inside a fireworks factory. The good news, a full super eruption is unlikely anytime soon. The bad news, unlikely is not the same as impossible, which is exactly the kind of wording that keeps anxiety alive at 3 a.m. So yes, beneath one of the most beautiful parks on Earth sits a geological rage button that could downgrade humanity from dominant species to historical footnote. Nature really said, enjoy the bison, ignore the apocalypse underneath. Number 4. The time humans almost froze out. Picture the entire planet turning into a giant refrigerator. Not it snowed this winter cold, more like oceans freezing at the edges, deserts icing over, and your survival plan becoming don't die today. During the last ice age, especially at the peak around 20,000 years ago, huge chunks of the northern hemisphere were buried under ice sheets miles thick. Humans didn't just deal with chilly weather, they dealt with collapsing ecosystems. When glaciers expand, forests vanish, grasslands shrink, sea levels drop, and food chains basically fall down a flight of stairs. Animals migrate, starve, or disappear, and early humans, who did not have supermarkets, food delivery apps, or even pockets, had to keep up or perish. Entire populations were pushed into tiny habitable zones mostly near the equator. Think of humanity huddling into a few livable corners of the planet like penguins that forgot how to be penguins. Genetic studies suggest human numbers dropped dramatically, bottlenecking again. In evolutionary terms, that's dangerously close to one bad season away from game over. And winter wasn't seasonal, it was generational. Imagine being born, living your whole life, and dying in a world where cold misery is just normal Tuesday weather. But humans pulled off the most underdog move imaginable. We invented better tools, clothing, shelters, fire mastery, and social cooperation. While other species went extinct, woolly rhinos, giant ground sloths, saber-toothed cats, humans basically said, what if we just outthink the problem? It's less that we conquered the ice age, and more that we refused to uninstall ourselves from existence. So next time you complain about your air conditioner being too cold, remember, your ancestors survived temperatures that would make your freezer file a complaint. Humanity didn't beat the ice age with strength. We beat it with teamwork, cleverness, and an unhealthy refusal to give up. Number 3. The asteroid that missed its appointment. 66 million years ago, an asteroid slammed into Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs, not made them uncomfortable, not ruined their day, completely ended their reign. That space rock hit near what is now Chicxulub crater in Mexico, releasing more energy than billions of nuclear bombs. Now here's the unsettling thought. Impacts like that don't happen on a polite schedule. Earth doesn't have an anti-asteroid shield yet. If a similar object hit during human existence, civilization wouldn't stand a chance. Shockwaves, global fires, mega tsunamis, and a debris cloud that blocks sunlight for years. It's basically the ultimate uninstall button for complex life. The impact winter that follows would collapse agriculture worldwide. No sunlight means no crops. No crops means no food. No food means humanity starts looking at survival manuals written in pure panic. We've had smaller near misses in modern times. Asteroids that slipped past Earth close enough to make astronomers go, oh no. The universe is basically throwing rocks in our direction, and most of the time we just don't notice. If the dinosaurs had a space program, they might still be here judging your life choices. The comforting twist? Humans are the first species that can actually detect incoming asteroids and potentially deflect them. We're fragile, hairless primates, but we're also the only ones who can look up and go, hey, that rock seems personal. So yes, extinction from space is still on the table, but at least now we have telescopes instead of tiny arms in confusion. Basically, humanity survived long enough to invent the concept of ducking. Number 2, the plague that nearly won. In the 14th century, something invisible rode into towns on fleas, rats, and trade routes and proceeded to delete entire populations. The Black Death, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, spread across Europe, Asia, and North Africa like a biological wildfire. This wasn't a stay-home-for-a-week situation. This was bodies in the streets, villages emptied, and mass graves becoming the new urban development plan. Some regions lost 30 to 60% of their population. Imagine every third person you know just gone. No warning, no cure, no understanding of germs because germ theory wouldn't exist for another 500 years. Symptoms included fever, delirium, blackened swollen lymph nodes, and a mortality rate that basically laughed at medical knowledge of the time. People blamed bad air, angry gods, unlucky stars, or that one suspicious neighbor who kept owning too many cats. Society didn't just strain, it warped. Farms went untended, economies collapsed, governments panicked, religious movements surged, entire cities became ghost towns with a lingering smell of nope. And remember, humans were far less numerous back then. Losing tens of millions of people was not just tragic, it was destabilizing on a species level. If the disease had been slightly more transmissible or slightly deadlier, human civilization could have fragmented beyond recovery. Yet somehow, humanity crawled through it. Survivors developed immunity, social systems slowly rebuilt. Ironically, the labor shortage even shifted power toward workers in some places, kickstarting massive social changes. So yes, a microscopic organism, something you could never see, punch, or negotiate with, nearly ended the dominant species on the planet. Basically, humanity almost got wiped out by something that doesn't even qualify as a pet. Number 1, the war that could end everything. Unlike volcanoes, ice ages, or asteroids, this one is entirely self-inflicted. Humans clever, tool-making, anxiety-powered humans invented weapons capable of ending civilization in an afternoon. Nuclear war isn't just big explosions. It's chain reactions of disaster layered like the world's worst lasagna. The atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki at the end of World War II showed a preview of what one weapon could do. Entire cities erased, infrastructure vaporized, survivors facing radiation sickness that made survival feel like a cruel sequel. Now multiply that by thousands of warheads. Modern nuclear arsenals could trigger a nuclear winter, smoke and soot blocking sunlight, temperatures plunging, crops failing worldwide. It's basically the asteroid scenario, except we lit the fuse ourselves and congratulated our engineering skills. Food systems collapse, supply chains vanish, governments fracture, survivors face a cold, dark world where canned beans become the new currency and optimism goes extinct first. And here's the deeply unsettling part. This scenario has come dangerously close to happening multiple times due to misunderstandings, technical glitches, or one person deciding not to follow protocol. Humanity has survived partly because someone, somewhere, chose not to push a button. We became powerful enough to destroy ourselves long before we became wise enough to guarantee we wouldn't. So the biggest extinction threat to humans is humans. Not aliens, not monsters, not angry planets, just a species smart enough to split atoms and stubborn enough to argue about everything. Basically, evolution gave us godlike power and the emotional maturity of a sleep-deprived raccoon. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.